Welcome once again to your update from the City of New Hope. Time to chat with the mayor to find out what's new and coming up in the City of New Hope. Welcome, Mayor Hemken. How are you today as we head towards spring? I like the picture change there.
I just couldn't stand it having just that snow back there any longer. It doesn't really look like that now, but it will soon. Now, the first thing I want to do is remind people that the first day of spring is the 19th of March, because a lot of these construction projects, they'll tell me early spring or spring. Early spring to them is the 19th of March. I did ask, why don't you start earlier? It's so nice out there. And they basically said, well, you never know when it's going to snow, and then it'll halt the project and the equipment's out there. Anyway, that's the story, and I'm sticking to it.
Sounds good to me. All right. Speaking of construction, we've got quite a list here. Let's start with the engineering department and talk about some of the roads around town. The first is 42nd Avenue. What's happening? What's going to be happening?
Well, 42nd Avenue, they're going to do a mill and overlay from Xerxes to Winnetka. And so that'll just be like a couple days of disruption. But just wanted people to know that that is disruption in that section. They can always get to High V turning off of Winnetka on 44th or coming from the other direction, but it'll still be a mess.
Let's hop out west a little bit, 169 and 42nd, the whole bridge project there. Still a few things to button up there, I understand.
Well, a couple things. Those bituminous curbs, they look like blacktop, are really coming out. They're just temporary, they tell me, and they will get concrete curbs. And again, that'll start in the spring. But, you know, whenever spring starts. Now, just a couple other things. They had a couple signs. One was a wrong way, and one was a do not turn or something like that. We got a lot of comments from the public about those. So we went to MnDOT and mentioned it to them, and they fixed the signs. So I just want to thank people when they call us and say, you know, did you know that the signs are wrong or something's going on? It really does help. And we don't always get there and we don't always see them. So thank you for those people that called and told us about them.
Let's hop down 169 a little further south to 36th Avenue. We've talked about this a few times. What's the latest on what might be coming to 36th and that bridge?
Well, new bridge across 36. They tell us that it will be no cost to New Hope. We'll see about that. But that'll happen in early spring, hence the March 19th date I told you about.
Now back to the crew that does a lot of this work in New Hope when there's projects going on. That's Public Works, and they're working on their own building. The phase 2 is really coming along as well.
It is. They'll get, again, that one I think is starting like mid-March. Read that to be early spring.
All right, the timing we will see as those go together. And 2024, the infrastructure projects, a lot going to be happening here. Again, give us a quick reminder of what streets might be affected this coming spring and summer.
Well, that's pretty much down by JC Park. That'd be the southwest corner. So they'll be doing mill and overlay. I don't think they're doing any complete reconstruction down there, but the neighbors will get, you'll all get a notice in the mail, or somebody will be coming around, tell you exactly what's going to happen and a little more on the dates of when that's going to happen.
So soon the orange cones are coming back out, so be ready for that. Community development, let's update residents on a few things happening. You've got a big grand reopening happening here of a business that's been waiting to open for quite some time.
This is exciting. It's the Marathon gas station on Bass Lake Road in Winnetka. It was a Shell station. It sat empty for, I think, 2.5 years. So grand opening is at 9 a.m., a ribbon cutting on the 1st of March. The public's welcome to come. The guy's really excited to have the public see what he's done inside. The mechanics bays are gone. So it's just a really pretty nice store inside. A lot of groceries, a lot of prepared food. So stop by at 9 o'clock on the 1st.
Scattered site housing, let's update on one property or a couple properties here. The first is right on the corner of 42nd and Boone, and we've got a picture to show here. This is a beautiful house, and it sounds like someone wants that house, correct?
They have a buyer. So they have a purchase agreement, and it just has got to go through. So that'll just take a little while. I understand they had kind of a dirt mess there. That's pretty much cleaned up. There's still some dirt on the road, but I'm not exactly sure what happened, but they did get that cleaned up. Well, right north of that is the other lot on Boone, and they're starting to dig that hole. But that's probably where all that dirt came from. So they're starting to dig that hole and they're looking to start some construction on that again in the spring.
One other scattered site house to update residents on, 5416 Utah. And this is a property that the city is looking into, correct? And things hoping to move along.
Typically what happens is either the owner of the house calls the city or we happen to drive by. And this is an area where we're doing a lot of that scattered site housing. So they went in and looked at the house. They made an offer to the buyer or the owner. So now we're just going to wait for that to come back. The EDA will look at that, accept the offer or reject it. If they accept it, then they'll go ahead and that'll be another scattered site house.
Final note from community development is the business networking group, a group that meets on a monthly basis, and they've got a meeting coming up very quickly here. Give us some of those details.
That's March 6th. It'll be 2:00. It's sponsored by St. Therese. Originally, we were going to have it at St. Therese, but they wanted to move it to City Hall. So again, that's Crystal and New Hope together. Usually there's about 30 people there. It's always a fun event. So the 6th of March, 2:00, City Hall.
Now to the police department, one item to update here, a Tri-City meeting that takes place on a regular basis, and the chief is regularly in attendance. What are these meetings all about?
So these are the police chiefs of Crystal, New Hope, and Robbinsdale. And they meet on a regular basis just because all of our problems are the same and we do a lot of help for each other. And they just want to make sure that they're all on the same page. So I think it's really exciting that they're meeting on a regular basis.
Back to Public Works, let's talk about a few things they're doing off of the streets, and one would be working with some water meters. What can you tell us about some water meter work?
Well, occasionally water meters will fail. And they can usually tell that by looking at the water bills. Now, when your water bill is really high, two things can happen. Either you've got a bad water meter or you've got a running toilet that you don't know about. Both things you have to take care of. So if it's the water meter, you simply call Public Works and they'll come out and check that. If it's your toilet, then you probably got to fix that yourself.
Very good. Tree trimming time of the year as we get ready towards spring. This is kind of that last little window that they really work on. It sounds like Public Works is out there.
Well, they are. You know, a lot of times we have snow this time of year, and some Public Works has got some time, and they take the equipment back and forth. What they're doing is a lot of tree trimming and the smaller trees on the boulevard that can be removed. They're doing that. So they're not just sitting around doing nothing. They're always out there doing something. They continue to use the street sweeper just to clean out the grates around before we do the citywide street sweeping.
Let's head over to Public Works. No, Park and Rec. Let's head to Park and Rec and talk about some of the things happening here. A lot going on, as you might imagine, as the time of the year shifts, and you'll find that there's something for everyone. Let's start with the older folks in town. They had a fun trip recently. Tell us more.
Well, it's called the Community Tripsters, and actually it's in your Park and Rec book at the back. So these guys went to the Guthrie Theater to see Dial M for Murder, and then they had a nice lunch. Everyone said it was a wonderful time. There were 30 of them.
Some of the younger ones in town went into black light and threw balls around. Mayor, explain this a little bit more and the crowd that came.
This is a typical 12-year-old project.
Right, exactly.
So it's called Black Light Dodgeball, and there were 50 kids involved. So they played dodgeball in a gym with black lights, and then they had a pizza party. So well attended.
Very good. And something else well attended is the dance program in the city. They have a great program, and it looks like they tried to show things off a little bit recently here to get people interested in maybe some of the higher levels of dance.
Well, we have a competitive dance team too. And so they had their, well, it's actually a practice and basically showing off what they're doing. It was open to the public, well attended. It gives the kids a chance to practice their dance routines in front of a very friendly crowd with their parents.
Let's talk about spring, summertime as Park and Rec's getting ready to shift gears here. They need some employees, and I understand they've got some of the paperwork and the processes going for that.
So these are the temporary summer jobs. And what they do is they send out paperwork to all the ones that worked last year to see if they want to come back. Once they get that back, then they'll start the recruitment process. So this is a really fun activity for these young people to come and work part-time for the cities.
We talked a little bit about the trees in Public Works, some of the trimming they're doing, but in Park and Rec, the forester works with those ash trees. What is the latest on the ash tree work?
Well, he's got his can of orange paint. He goes around and sprays big orange dots on those trees that have to come down. These are just boulevard trees, by the way. So now he's working with residents to help them pick out a tree to put on their boulevard, because we're doing a replacement project with these trees that we're taking down. We're trying to put another tree up in its place. And a lot of people can't decide, or they don't know what to do. So he's getting ready for the spring planting, and to do that, he's got to figure out how many of each kind of trees they want planted. So that's what he's doing right now with them. Just a side note about the forester, we had a chili cook-off, and our city forester won that chili cook-off.
Very good. Congratulations.
Don't know, but he has a trophy with a ladle on it, I guess.
Probably a secret recipe, so we can't tell any of us what was in it. Let's talk about the golf course, a few things happening there, and you see the beautiful picture behind you. The first one is leagues, already starting to talk about leagues.
Well, they send out the registration to all the people who played last year. And when those come back, they fill up the slots, and then they open it up to the public. So when that's opened up to the public, I'll let you know. We should be getting our thing in the mail probably early spring to tell us to sign up. And then they fill the league. The league this year is not going to have a fall league. They're just going to extend the summer league a couple weeks. So good time to sign up. It's also a good time to buy your season pass, but they're not available either. They'll be available, guess what, in the spring.
All right, we'll keep you up to date on that. And one final note about the golf course. I understand there has been some sightings of things wandering around the golf course, and maybe a little unexpected and a little noisy.
Well, you know it's going to open because the geese are back. And I know they're back because I heard them this morning squawking. So the geese are back. I don't know if they're here to stay, but it's a good sign spring is on the way.
Yes, it's coming. All right, hop over to the ice arena, busy place right now, kind of a shifting of their season away as well, away from some of the high school games, but plenty of opportunities there for young ones, older ones, and even those that might be learning how to skate.
Well, the boys and girls high school games are done. So now the youth hockey, those kids are playing and practicing. They've got a Division III that's practicing and playing until Thursday of this week. And then they will be done. But we still have the skate lessons going on. The adult hockey are playing their games on Saturday and Sunday nights, and there's open skating on Fridays and Sundays.
Let's talk about some staff in human resources. The first is Housing Code Enforcement Inspector. It looks like we've got someone new coming into the building.
We do. He starts on the 4th of March. We're excited to have him. We had a person we were using from MinSpec, but you can only use them so long. So now we've got a permanent person coming in, and he's coming on the 4th of March. Also on the 4th of March, we've got 2 positions that are open, a police clerk and an accounting technician. And those jobs will be open till noon on the 4th. So that's when we'll accept applications until then. And then after that, we'll see if we can hire somebody for those 2 jobs.
And all that information on the city's website, newhopemn.gov. You can find out more about those positions and all of the other things we're talking about happening in the city as well. Let's go to social media, another place to find out things that are happening in the city. And the first is something called Growth Through Opportunity Summer Internship. And you have a little more information.
I do. This is kind of a mouthful, though.
Yes.
So I have to look so I don't get it wrong. So this is for developmentally challenged people. Basically, it's a way to do an internship so they get some work experience right out there in the job. So we'll have these internships for the administration, police department, public works, and park and rec. And they have until the 29th of February to apply. They can go online either to the police department or a place called Empower Inclusive. And they have until the 29th of February to apply. So we're looking for a few folks to do this, and this is the first time we've done this, so we're kind of excited about it.
All right, here's the funny one. We need to talk about the snowman snow sculpture contest. And with the picture behind you, you wonder how this will ever happen, but there may still be hope. And there's a deadline still a little ways out.
Well, the deadline is the 31st of March.
Yes.
So we've got a couple weeks, I guess. I did see some snow. I was going to my daughter's in Brooklyn Park, and there was a pile of snow on the north side of a building. But I don't think they want you to import snow to do this, but look around, you might be able to find some.
Hopefully it's coming.
Build this little snowman or snow structure and take a picture, name it, and send it to the Park and Rec Department for this contest. Also, the Good Citizenship Award is still in its process. You can go online or you can go into City Hall to get an application for that. And you have until the 31st of March to apply for that. Just a couple other funny things that are not, they're not funny, but things that are happening.
Right.
Our bulky waste curbside cleanup. That's going to happen on April 1st through the 11th, but you'll only have one day and you'll get a postcard in the mail that'll tell you the day that the truck will be by to pick your stuff up. There's some restrictions on what you can put out, and there's a phone number you're going to have on the screen. You can call that phone number or just wait for your little card to come in the mail and tell you. They will not come a second time to pick up. So you put it out there and make sure it's out there by 7 o'clock on the day of your pickup. Now, the other thing is the Maple Grove Yard Waste site. That's going to open on the 15th of April. So if you've got trees and limbs down, cut them up, bundle them up. They don't want anything too big, but that's a good place to drop them off. And the last thing is March 5th is the presidential primary.
Right.
So you can go to your polling place on March 5th to vote, or you can vote at City Hall on March 2nd from 9 to 3. And just go in, they've got the voting machines all set up, and go in there and vote if you'd like.
So some extra hours on that Saturday, again, at City Hall if you want to vote. And again, a lot of information on the city's website, newhopemn.gov, and also mnvotes.org. If you need to find out some more information there about polling places and things like that, they are happy to help you out. Mayor Hemken, thanks once again for the update and for all of your time today. Look forward to talk to you again next week.
See you next week. Hopefully I'll have the same background.
All right, let's hope so. No snow. And if you want
No
to stick
snow.
with us here for just a second, we've got some items coming up in the city that you might want to get on your calendar. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dave.
Learn more about The Connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.